were you received when you met with President Netanyahu?
Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Yes.
Well, I had met Prime Minister Netanyahu with his first election in the 96-97 in Chicago. And he was kind of stoic and standoffish. He was so effusive and warm when we met with him. This time I actually had to look it back and make sure it's the same guy. Because he's really transformed. He's very warm, very effusive. Spent a great deal of time with our delegation, which were primarily African-American politicians from the Midwest. And so it was interesting. It was very interesting that how intense he was on listening and hearing our reflections on the state of Israel, and really sharing with us his vision as Prime Minister for the state of Israel. Yes.
But my question is, I know that there are so many amazing retentions from the African diaspora, people who come as slaves, and even in churches that I've been to, some of the movements people do when they're dancing are so African dance movements. And I love seeing that. And I'm curious, in music, in the ritual, are there some of those retentions that are purely African-American distinctions that have enriched Jewish practice?
Yes,
in that context?
absolutely. And if you visit any of the congregations, synagogues, you will find that in our congregation, most of the songs are written by the members from the book of Psalms. The directors put the music to it. Absolutely. And one of the things, writers like to say, oh, that's gospel, there's a Jewish gospel choir. So I like to ask the question, please explain to me when klezmer music grew out of a vacuum of its own being and not influenced by the other cultures in which Jews found themselves in Eastern Europe. I beg to differ. It was definitely influenced by those cultures that it found itself in, just as, you know, the dangerous thing that I first found when I got to Africa was these guys walking around with these big black hats. And I said, what are you doing? They said, we're Orthodox. And I said, what do you mean? He said, we're Orthodox Jews. Stop. Stop. The dress of different movements of Jews has nothing to do with being more authentically Jewish, because you take the dress of the aristocracy from the 18th century of someplace and make that your Sabbath dress. I'm sorry. And that's fine. So you might come in our shul and you may see someone in African garb, but they have on a talit. They're praying the Shema, they're praying the Amidah. We sing Hatikva at our shul. Are other Jewish congregations singing Lift Every Voice and Sing? There should be a flow. So we sing both songs. Because Hatikva is just as important to us as Lift Every Voice and Sing. So this is who we are. So yes, we absorb, but you know, I said, if you've been Jewish all your life, what you know about gospel? Where'd you go to learn about gospel? Were you sneaking to church? So Jews, by and large, just as all people have, and it was said here earlier, from those cultures that they found themselves in, according to the Tanakh, the months, the Jewish months of the calendar that we have now, you don't find the majority of them in the Bible. The name of the month in the Bible is not the name of the month that you find on your Jewish calendar. I wonder why. Because the names on the calendar come ostensibly from Babylonia, not from the Tanakh. So that was borrowed, just as our watches, and somebody left their watch up here, Lewis. Okay? And our concept of time was borrowed by different cultures. None of it grew up in a vacuum. So neither do the Ashkenazi community or the Sephardi community, nor the African and the African and American communities. We are all and have all been influenced. But we should not let where we come from be a point of questioning the depths and the level of our sincerity to Torah and to Judaism, or to other Jews for that.
I'd like to hear you comment on how the line of thought of rabbinical Judaism seduced you as opposed to any other thought.
It made sense. One thing that you have to learn, and that I've also said to the broader Jewish community, I found it so wonderfully interesting. I've sat down on an airplane next to a person who's Jewish, haven't been to synagogue in 40 years, and will say very proudly that they are culturally Jews, but they're secular Jews, but then want to question my Judaism and how much you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Or how much you know, God? Wait a minute. You don't even step foot in a synagogue. You don't even own a siddur. And you are asking me? You're giving me a Jewish test? I can't be an African-American secular Jew? It's okay for you, but it's not okay for me. I gotta be holier than thou. I gotta pull out my Arfat Katan Zit, you know, so I got one on, and then I wear one. No, you know, so that has to, you know, as Jews from Ashkenazi or other backgrounds, I understand that if you're not doing it, don't ask me or any other person of color, you know, and measuring their level of Jewishness or what they're doing, and you're not, you know, like the police should not give you a ticket for a broken headlight if their headlight is out. You can't give a ticket for something that you have like doing. So how are you going to come and examine me and the level of my commitment? And yeah, listen, most black Jews that I know you'll never see them eating anything that's treif. Okay? Never. Ever. But I know I got some Ashkenazi friends. Okay? And so we don't lay those levels out like that, okay? So we didn't know until recently what it means to be secular. Because to us, Judaism was a way of life. Judaism is what you do. You get up in the morning and you pray, I give thanks to the Eternal for opening my eyes and giving strength to my body. You get up in the morning and you wash your hands and you say, that's what you do. That's what we thought all Jews did. That's what we thought it meant to be Jewish. That's what we thought. So when we met secular Jews, oh, wow. We were wiped out because it seemed like an oxymoron to us. To be Jewish and to not be Jewish. Or to be Jewish and to not do Jewish. But it's no offense. Just to our community, it was like, whoa, this is what we're doing. So, but thank you all very, very much.